Welcome back, data leaders and Python learners. DBT, a beginner's guide, handling real-time data. Data modeling made easy with DBT. The challenge that we are facing. The objective of learning to data model is to understand the data and then model it in such a way that the end user requirements are met. Okay, that is the purpose of data modeling. DBT is a tool that helps to do this modeling. So just let us go to Internet Explorer for a moment, and we see that this if you go to docs.getdbt.com, you will see that a lot of information is available about DBT. Okay, and if you come to the home page, just a minute. If you come to the home page, you see that the raw data is taken by the DBT or the data build tool. It is built into a proper data set and given to the next step of BI, ML and operational analytics applications. This is the purpose of DB tool. However, this raw data is available inside a database server and or a warehouse, and then it is going to be given to another database server or a warehouse where these applications work. This is going to be E extract, T transform, load process. This DB tool can effectively interface with all these applications: Snowflake, Redshift, BigQuery, Databricks. However, we are not going to use any of these applications. You might be wondering why are we not using it? We are data leaders. We have to understand how the intricacies of the data works and also how the applications that run the data activity also works, like data modeling, data transformation, data loading and extraction. We should understand everything. But when we use any of this application, right, some of the activities are automated for us. Okay, like for instance, you don't get to see how the database server is getting set up, or if something is going to be changed. For example, you want to move from Snowflake to Redshift or from Redshift to BigQuery. How that gets done, you may not be knowing. Okay, and you may not be even knowing that what kind of challenges you will face if you're going to move from Redshift to BigQuery. Okay, there will be enormous amount of challenges. But if you understand the basics of how these things work at the entry level, at the database level, it will be very helpful. That will be helpful for us to manage the data in a very efficient fashion. Okay, so let us go back to the presentation. In order to become efficient and become a data leader, we have to understand, as I told, at the application level, but we need to get our hands on the DB server first. Okay, how are we going to do that? Second, we have to get the data into the server. How are we going to get the data first, and how are we going to get it into the server? Second, that is the second point. The third is we have to connect the database server with DBT. And finally, we have to start using DBT. This is a very challenging steps that we need to take to learn data modeling. Is it worth it? Okay. In next 1 hour, if you give me 1 hour of your time, I can tell you how to not just do data modeling. I can tell you how to use Docker to get the Postgres database server in your local environment. Then work a little bit with Docker ecosystem. Then push 400K plus records into Dockerized database that you actually have got it, and then install and configure DBT, and then do data modeling. All this can be understood in next 1 hour. So, I mean, it's worth a try, right? And Docker is going to be our hero. We are going to head to the terminal. Before that, after this video, I'll be concentrating on Python data APIs library, which actually provides the data from various other data sources. So that libraries I'll be concentrating. If you like this video, do share the video and do leave a like. Subscribe to my channel so that you will get the notification whenever I am updating new videos. Okay, let us go to the terminal right now. In the terminal, what you are going to do is you are going to execute the command called as docker version. Okay, you see my terminal is actually split like this. So this is kind of a terminal multiplexer. This will be easier for me to show you both the code as well as the database in this area. So it will be easier for me to work. So that is why I have split the terminal like this. So database will be at the bottom, code will be at the top. Okay. And now I am going to do docker version command here, and I'm going to execute. You'll see that my docker version is 23.0.1. In your case, if you are not getting the reply like that, it means, let us go to the Internet Explorer. It means you need to install Docker. So come to this docker.com and install the Docker for your OS. Okay, I'm not going to get into deeper into that. Get the Docker installed. It's very easy actually. So whether it is Linux or whether it is Windows operating system, you can get it up and running very fast. Next, what we are going to do is we are going to go to hub.docker.com. This is another place that we will immediately go to for getting the Postgres image. The Postgres image or the Postgres DB server image is an application software that you can get it from the home page of the hub.docker.com. Just click on this link and it will take you to the image page. Image is the software of the DB server that I'm talking about. And if it is not available on the home page, you can search it here, you will get it. So this is the official Docker image that we will be downloading for Postgres. Okay, it is safe. It has been checked thoroughly by a lot of people. Almost 1 billion people have been, 1 billion downloads has happened. So you don't need to worry about the authenticity of this application. Okay, now I have introduced DBT. I have introduced how to install Docker and what is the image that we are going to take. Okay, now let us go back to the presentation once. And so first and foremost, we are in the process of we are in the process of pulling the Postgres Docker. That is the next first step we have to do. Let us go to the terminal. In the terminal, you need to type docker, just a minute, docker pull Postgres :latest. So this is what you have to type. Okay, once you type, you press enter. This will pull the Postgres database application image to your local drive. After that, if you type image ls, docker image ls, and type enter, you will see that the Postgres image, where it is, Postgres latest is downloaded to your database, to your local machine. So it is 377 MB. So this is the size, created, date, etc. So it is showing all those things. And this is how you actually get your Postgres application. Okay, we have not yet started. We have not yet got the database server. We have just got the application. Now, how to get the server? For that, you have to use the command. This command. This is going to be a lengthy command. Yeah, you see this. This command is what we are going to use. Okay, don't get intimidated by this command. I will explain to you each and everything one by one now what is going to happen. Okay, and once I explain to you, this command will not be intimidating. So let me add one more point here. Name is tutorial DB. So what this happens is, this is having a lot of Docker is written using a programming language called as Go. And this particular application can interface with the hardware very effectively. So this is one of the very versatile application. What happens is that if you let me go to the top area, and I'm going to say docker run help. Okay, I'm going to ask for help, and if you see, it will give me a lot of switches like this: W, V, U, T. So all these switches that I'm using here, D, P, E, V, all this explanation, interactive, host string, environmental list, detach, all these things you can actually refer what is the meaning of it. Okay, so you have to just type this command, or you have to, I will give this command in the description also. Just copy paste it in your terminal, in your command prompt. Okay, and then execute it. It will work. Okay, you don't need to worry about what is happening underneath. You can just copy paste it. It will work. Okay, but if you want to understand, I'm going to explain. First and foremost, Docker run will start the Docker process on this image. You see this image, the image that we downloaded. In order for this image to work properly, we need to give it a port that is 5431 mapped to 5432. So basically I'm telling that I want the Postgres image, the Postgres application to interface with 5432 port. Keep this in mind. It will interface with 5432 port. Okay, and it will be in detached method. Detached in the sense, this particular prompt that I'm using will not get used by this application. It will detach from this prompt. That is what detach means. This -e means environmental list. Okay, so environmental list, password is pass, and Postgres user is Postgres. This is the username and password. This V means volume. This is important. Okay, okay, let me actually make this little more different. In the command prompt, not in the shell command prompt, we can actually use this kind of a flag. Okay, I think this was an error. Just a minute. Okay, so here it is saying that the tutorial DB is already existing, so it's fine. I just want to make some changes here so that I can, just a minute, it's creating a problem. Okay, so basically what I wanted to show is that I want to show that the V switch is for the local volume. This is the local volume. The one on the left side of this colon, one on the left side is the local drive. Okay, and one on the right side is the one inside the Docker image. Okay, this is the application location, application data, and this is your local host folder. So if you go to my home, if I actually use home like this, you'll see that there is a folder called as Postgres target. You see this? This folder is my local folder. Okay, but this is actually inside the Docker. Keep this in mind. This is very important. Don't give it in the opposite way. It will not work. It will actually error out. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to show. And in my case, I have already executed this, so I don't need to execute it. After you execute that, if you say docker ls, if you docker ps, ps and -a, if you execute that, you will see that the Docker is running. For me, it has been created an hour ago, and status is up. It has to be up. It should not be exited. Ensure that it is up, and the name is tutorial DB. Okay, now we have access to, just a minute, let us go to the presentation once. We are having access to our, where it is, we are having access to our database server. We have access to our database server. Okay, you are thinking, where is the database server? We actually did something with the Docker image, but we have not got the access to the server yet. So that is what we are going to see next. Let us go back to the terminal. In the terminal, what we are going to do is we are going to use docker exec it, and in it we are going to, it is actually, we are going to give interactive TTY. So this is all Linux terminologies. Just follow it. You don't need to worry about what these things are. As of now, just follow it. IT tutorial DB. Tutorial DB is the instance that I'm using, and I'm going to say PSQL. PSQL is the command line interface for Postgres server. This is where we are going to get the access to the server that I am telling about. And I'm going to say username is Postgres, the same username that we gave in our environment come here. So we gave this username, right? We gave this username Postgres and we gave this password. So we are going to use that one. H is localhost, host is localhost, and H is localhost, and then we need to use database equal to Postgres. So that is not required. So if you then enter it now, it will actually give me connection to the database server. So there you go. This is how you get connected to the database server, which is running inside the Docker. Okay, but you need to do little more activity. So I'm going to give some more commands about Docker here. Okay, just follow this. So Docker inspect, okay, tutorial DB. So if you do this, if you actually execute this command, you will get the IP address at the bottom. You will get the IP address of the database server. This IP address is important. Take a note of this. Okay, and this is how you get the IP address. And the next is Docker logs tutorial DB. If you see this, this is actually showing the database situation. It is giving the logs of the database situation. So it is here. It is saying that something has gone wrong with the database. It was not shut down properly. Okay, and some of the activities, all the logs are getting loaded here. We can check it if you want. Okay, in your case, it should be just saying database ready for accepting connection. Nothing else. It should say database ready for accepting connection. That is what it will say. If you are connected here, it will say that okay, someone has connected also. So that is what it will show. So these are the two commands, logs and what was the other one? Inspect. So these are the two commands that I wanted to share. Okay, now we have the database server here. We have understood how Docker works. So let us go back to the presentation once again, just to recap. So we have got the database server. Now we need to get the data into the server. Okay, how are we going to do that? So before we actually get the data into the server, we have 400K plus records ready to be pushed into the server. But before that, let's go back to the terminal. Before that, we need to create the database. So what am I talking about? Let me make this more bigger. Okay, and let us list. So in order to get the list of database inside your database server, you have to use /l. So you use /l, you will see that there are 4 databases in my database server. But in your database server, this will not be there. Test will not be there. How to create it? You have to use create database test and semicolon. You should always finish it with semicolon, or else Postgres SQL server will not consider it as a command. Okay, if for an example, if I don't give a semicolon like this and if I press enter, you will see that this equal to is not coming. It is still minus. So if I give semicolon here, then it will say that the command is complete and it is erroring out. It's saying database test is already existing. Okay, so in my case, it will say that it is already existing. In your case, it will execute and it will create the database test. Okay, and this database, if you have followed every step properly till now, will persist even. Okay, let me go out. Now I'm going to exit from the database server. I have exited. Okay, and I'm going to do docker stop tutorial DB. Okay, this is the name of the Docker. I have stopped it now. Once it is stopped, and if I try to connect, so if I try to connect to the same database, it will say that error response from the daemon, container is not running. Okay, after you stop it, always remember that you need to rm tutorial DB. So you have to do this, or else the next command will not work. The starting command will not work. So after doing rm, I'm going to start again. So if I start again, the Docker will start again, and now I'm going to reconnect, but now it will connect. So let us check the logs first. Docker logs tutorial DB. So you'll see database system is ready to accept connections. It will come like this, and it will also say when it was shut down last. And if I execute this now, you'll see that I'm able to execute, and if I list the database, the test database is still there. So the whatever you are putting into this Docker container will actually persist even if the Docker container is stopped. Why this is happening? It is happening because of this command. Okay, this is happening because I am asking the whatever data I am putting into the Docker to be mapped to my local hard drive. If I don't have this command, then whatever I'm doing in this Docker will be lost after I stop the Docker container. Okay, the container that I'm talking is the tutorial DB. Keep this in mind very firmly, or else you will lose the data or whatever work you are doing. But it's not a very big deal, right? You can anyway get it very fast back. So you will see how fast it is in a moment. Okay, now let us go back to the presentation for a moment, and we have got the access to the database server properly, and we have also understood how to work with the Docker little better now. Next, what we are going to do is we are going to go to the Internet Explorer, and we are going to go to this particular GitHub repo. This repo contains the data, and also it contains the Postgres data loader script. So let me open this script here. It's a little easier for me to explain to you. And in this script, you will see that this script actually loads the data into the Docker Postgres database. This is the script for it. So it will open the, just a minute, let me zoom in a bit. Yeah, it is visible for you guys. So it will unpack the archive.zip. So archive.zip is here. Let me open that in a separate. So it will unpack this archive.zip that will have this particular CSV file, and then it will go through the cleaning process. So from here to here, it will go through the cleaning process, and after that it will print that cleaning is complete, and then it will move the data into the database. This simple command is going to do the heavy lifting. Okay, but all these things, how to do with pandas library in Python, I have covered it in a separate video. So I will tag that video along with this video, along with this particular Postgres database DBT tool video. You can understand better. What happens is that pandas is a separate library which is very versatile. So you need to take a look at that. And here you see this is the username and the password is 1234. I will show you how to change the password in your database server in a second. This is the IP. I told you to remember the IP, right? This is the IP, and this is the database test that we created. So this string has to be correct as per your database configuration. These 4 values are important. If this is wrong, when we execute the script, the execution will fail at this point. It will fail at this point, and it will error out. It will say that cannot connect. It will error out. So let me show you this is the archive file that I was talking about. Okay, let us reset and let us go back to the terminal once again. We are in the terminal, and we are going to go to the one more point. I forgot to tell you something. Let us go back to you can download this entire GitHub repo from using git clone. If you are new to GitHub, if you are not used to GitHub process, I have a separate video for that. Take a look at that. You will understand how to use it in less than 1 hour, and then you can use this, do a git clone of this directory to your local drive, and you need to go to I'm going back to the terminal. You need to go to the terminal location where your drive is. You have to open in terminal. Okay, in my case it is there in git folders, and inside the git folders I am having dbt hands-on tutorial. So this is the code area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the database little down. Now I have shown you how the loading happens, right? I'm going to execute that file. Python, the file Postgres data loader is already inside this DBT hands-on tutorial. So let me show you here also again. So this is already inside here. So this file is already inside here. I have already downloaded it. So if I use Python Postgres data loader, what will happen is it will start the process. It will actually read the file. It will read this file. Okay, first of all, it will unpack. It is saying, see, unpack archive, and it will read this file. Then it will actually create the data frame and it will load it. I'm going to stop it because I've already done this process. Okay, and once that process is done, if without any errors, okay, there are possibilities of errors occurring if your IP is wrong. Okay, the IP that you for the Docker that you have provided is wrong. If the port that you have provided is wrong, any of these values are wrong in the typo. So let me go to the internet browser again, and let me show you the loader for a moment for your benefit. Let me zoom in. So if any of these values are wrong, then it will error out, as I explained to you. Okay, and successfully, if it loads, then it will you will see that you can come back to the terminal. You will see that you have to connect to the test database. For connecting to the database, you have to use /c test. It will say you are now connected to database test as user Postgres, and inside the test you will actually find hacker_data. This is the table that you need to find. These three will not be there. Okay, so let me drop them. So in order to drop table, all you need to do is hacker defrag. Okay, it will drop the table. And if I say drop table, my first, this is something that you also need to aware. So cascade, so this will drop the other two tables also. And if I list, I need to do /d. Okay, if I do /d, you will see that there is one table. And if I do select count star from hacker data semicolon, that is important, and if you press enter, you will see that 448k rows are inside the database. So you don't need to believe me. All you need to do is go remove this, and let us actually do a limit on this. Limit 5, enter. You will see the data is inside. So you have got the data. Let us go to the presentation once. Okay, so there you go. We have got the database server and we have got the data into the server using Python. I have not mentioned here as Python, but yeah, that will actually break the suspense, right? Now, how to connect the database with the DBT, that is data build tool. Already I explained what is data build tool, right? So let us go to the Internet Explorer just for you to, I already told that this is a tool and we are not going to use any of these warehouses. We are going to use Postgres. Okay, and you can actually come, I think it will be here, I suppose. You can check getting started guide. Okay, these guys have not even given Postgres, they have only spoken about warehouses. Go to the getting started, just a minute, go to the documentation. If you go to the documentation, you will get a brief idea of how to work with the DB tool. Okay, so it starts with what is DBT, documentation, getting started guide. So click on this, click on getting started guide, and you will see that there are two options. So get DBT cloud and DBT core. I prefer DBT core. As I already told you, we are data leaders, right? We have to understand everything from the basic level. And what is more basic than the command prompt? Tell me. Nothing is more basic than command prompt except kernel level coding. Now let us get started with DBT core. If you go into DBT core, it will actually tell you how to get started with DBT core. It will give you the okay, all these things we are going to explain, we are going to check now. Okay, we can do that. You can also follow this also if you want, but I'm going to anyway follow. I'm going to explain this to you in this video now. So here you will see that installation overview, installation with pip. Go to install with pip. Okay, so here you have to install. See, here you see that, right? You can actually use DBT Postgres also. There is it is available with DBT tool. And if you scroll down, you can use with Redshift, Snowflake, BigQuery, and Rhino. We will be doing installation of these two. So pip install DBT core and Postgres. Okay, just copy this. Just copy this and then come to the terminal. In the terminal, inside the folder that we downloaded, right? Go inside the folder. So I'm now showing at the top. We are going to show some code. So here you have to paste. So you have to do DBT core and you have to put the type the command like this and then press enter. So it will install both the applications. Once the application is installed, you have to say DBT version. If you do DBT version, you will see that it will give a lot of information about the situation, the update situation, whether it has been installed properly, and what are the tools, plugins that is installed. So you see that. So the plugins is Postgres. It is installed, version is 1.44, and it is up to date. All this information, we get it in single command. And you will also know that the version, you will also know that the tool is installed properly. Okay. So we are ready. So now we have to configure DBT. If you, okay, now that we are here, right? Let me actually show you something. This is very important. Just try to follow with me little closely. So here I am in the database right now. I am in this place, database. I am going to list the tables. So there is only one table here, hacker_data. Now I am going to go to the place where I am having the code, ls. So this is the place I am having the code that you got it from the GitHub, right? First and foremost, what you need to do is you need to create a folder in your home directory. So what is home directory? Home directory, if you are in Windows, it is my documents home directory. Okay. You need to create a .dbt folder, and inside the folder you need to create profiles.yaml. You need to create this file. Okay. That file should contain this data. The file should contain this data. Okay. All this data should be inside that file, profiles.yaml file. I have given an example file here, profile_yaml_file.txt. This will contain the same data. So you see the host IP and the port and the user, etc. You see this. This is actually, you have to use it. Just a minute, actually. Just give me a moment. I think there is a mistake in this file. Let me check it. Cat. Yeah, I think the port is wrong here. Let me recheck it with my original file. Yeah, the port is wrong. So the actual port should be 5432. So let me edit it right away and let me push it. So vim profile YAML file, and let me edit it. Yeah, let me edit it now. .32, and this is also 32. Okay, ensure that it is appropriate in your file also. Okay, I have saved it. The point here is that, let me go to my YAML file. This has to be created, then only the next step you can do. So let me show, let me first of all go to my profiles.yaml. So you see that my profile has default and output is these values. Production output has production, and production has the database name, and the database IP is this, and then this is another one output location called pub, and that is also having the database, but the only difference is the schema. So I will show you how to work with the schema in a couple of minutes in this video. And there is also one more profile called test project. I will explain to you how it got created. Okay. So once the file profiles.yaml file is there, then what you need to do is you need to come to this folder and you need to just run dbt debug. Just execute this dbt debug. Once you execute this dbt debug, you should get everything is okay. There will be green updates that comes that it says everything is okay. So all the checks have passed. Connection check has passed. The profile files are okay. Git is found. Git is very important. Okay, GitHub is found, and connection between the database is okay. The port is 5432. IP is okay. If any of this is wrong, then it will error out. Okay. Now the point here is that, let me again remind you. Let me go back. In the database location, we have only one table. Okay. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute in this code area. I'm going to execute dbt inside this folder. I'm going to execute dbt run. This is the command to run the tool. So what this will do is it will actually, let me go to the Internet Explorer. It will actually do this process. It will extract the data from one database server or table. It will go through this ETL process and create a new data set. So let us go back to the terminal, and in the meantime, it has completed. So it has done something with the 448 records. And let us see that has there any change in our database. Okay, let us do a list of the table. Now you see there are 4 tables and I did not do anything. Okay, you saw me that I executed that code and I was showing you how the DBT works, correct? Now let us see how much data is there in this table, hacker_dfrag. So select count star from hacker dfrag. Okay, there is 448k rows in this also, and let us check how the rows look. Okay, select star from hacker dfrag limit 5. Oh, this is actually different. The one that we saw earlier inside the data, that was having a different format. This is having a lot of columns, but the dfrag has less number of columns, and it has something called as count group, and this number looks different. So actually we have done an ETL activity right now. So what has happened is I have taken the DBT tool model has taken the data from this table. It has done some transformation and written a new table. Okay, this is what has happened. This is already coded here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the Internet Explorer to explain the folders. Just a minute. Let us go to the Internet Explorer, and I'm going to go into the GitHub repo. This will be much more easier to explain to you the code, what is going to change. Okay, so once I explain this, I will show it to you in the command prompt. There will be lots of files like this. Okay, in order to get these folders, you don't need to do anything manually. You have to execute one command called as dbt init and the project name. So let me show that first. Okay, these folders, all these folders that you see here will get populated. Let us go back to the terminal. I am going to go out of this DBT hands-on tutorial. Okay, you also should go out of the DBT hands-on tutorial, change out, and then you can say DBT in any folder. You can say DBT init, and you say test DB tool, test DB tool, test_DB tool, and you press enter. And the moment you press enter, what will happen is it will start the project for you, and it will start populating. So first of all, it will ask me what database you want to connect with. So I have only one option, right? We did not install any other thing. So I say 1, and it says immediately, okay, I'm ready. And now if you see, you can actually connect with the you can change into the folder. So if you change into the test DBT tool, and if you do ls, you will see all this file automatically populated. And this is how, let us go back to the browser. This is how all these files got created in the first place. Okay, And in what we are going to do is we are going to concentrate on models folder specifically. And in models folder, when you create the when you create the project, DBT init project, you will get only example. So this example will contain my first DBT model and my second DBT model. Only it will contain these two, and it will contain schema.yaml. This schema.yaml is actually the models, the basic model that is available. Okay, these are how to say. Let me get to this in couple of minutes. So let us actually go out and let us actually look at the my first DBT model. Click on this. If you open this my first DBT model, you will see that it is saying with source data. Okay, it is starting blindly that with source data. You don't need to worry about this right now, as of now. So with source data as select one as ID, union all, and select null as ID. So this is doing some kind of SQL activity, and then it is saying select star from source data. When you look at this particular example, right, it is extremely tough to understand what is going on, to be honest with you. So don't try, forget it. Don't refer to this. I just want to show it to you so that you will not actually try to see it. So you'll actually get confused. What it is better to do is that you come to hacker_tab, and there you will see there will be two more files like this. So click on schema.yaml. You will see that this schema. Okay, just a minute. Yeah, I suppose now it is more better. Schema.yaml will contain the name. This is the name of the source. It will contain something called as sources. It is the name of the source, test, and description, and database, the database test that we created, and the schema is public. So we will see that schema is very important. In the next video, I will explain to you how we can use schema for a kind of a data marked and unstaging area. We can do all those stuff with schema. And then we have the name hacker data, the table name that we created, hacker_data, all hacking records from honeypot data. So this is under schema.yaml file. Let us take a step back and let us go into hacker_defrag.sql. And in that place, you will see that, let us zoom back a little, and you will see that it is actually creating a lot of tables here. So it is creating table. It is starting with. This is actually common table expression, CTE, with clauses used for common table expression. And it is selecting from a cryptic source. If you know SQL, right? I hope you are aware of a little bit of SQL. And if you know that, you will know SQL commands start with select, and there will be tables, there will be columns, and then there will be a table name. But here you see that I'm having a different kind of a syntax: source, test, hacker. Okay, what this actually does is it will actually go into this hacker tab folder, and inside the hacker tab folder there is schema.yaml, and inside the schema.yaml sources file is there, right? It will check, is there any source called test, and you will see that there is a name, source called name test, and inside that it knows that it is a database called test, and under that table is hacker data. So that is what it is getting referred here. Okay, and from that we are selecting 5 columns, and from the same source we are actually counting the number of countries by grouping it. Okay, we are doing this group activity. So we are selecting, we are grouping, and then in final we are actually doing a join. So we are joining the hacker table, hacker here, and we are joining the group data here, and we are doing a left join, and we are using country as the what is it called, the joining column, to reference column that we are using country. and the formula is also different. We are saying using. Now in the SQL script, what we will say equal to. So we will say group data dot country equal to hacker dot country, right? But here we are saying group data using country. Now this is what is actually called as modeling in DBT. So we have modeled the table, okay? And like this, you see when you read it, right, it is so easy to explain. And I can explain to anybody by just showing the code, right, what is happening. And let us zoom back. Let me zoom back and let us, we are actually, completed the actual activity now. So let us go to the terminal. And so right now we have actually seen how to, we have to go back into CD DB tool, DB tool hands-on tutorial, and we are inside that. If you do ls, this is the folder that I was showing in the GitHub repo just a minute ago. So if you do models here, you will see the same folder, okay, example and hacker tab. And if I do a vim here, let me show that. So inside the hacker tab, you will have hacker defrag, the same file I showed you there, the same file, and also the schema YAML, the same file that I showed you in the repo. So this is already downloaded here. And now when I wait a second. So now when I run the command, dbt run, what it will do is, what dbt will do is, it will actually go into this model folder. It will check the models and it will execute the models, okay? And what it will do, it will write the SQL in this folder called as target, okay? Let me show you how the targets folder looks. Let me go back to the Internet Explorer again, and let us go to the, oh, why is the target folder not available here? The reason is that whenever we are pushing the data to GitHub, the targets are always removed, okay? The reason is that the targets folder might contain important information, so the data is always removed. It will contain the database tables name, etc. So it will always get removed. But when you look at the models, it doesn't make sense. So what is the table underlying that? It may not make sense. So let us just go back to the terminal again, and let us actually check it here only. Just a minute, I am doing a git stat now. Yeah, it is not there. Vim, and we are in the targets, and you see there is compiled and there is run, okay? And you check the compile, you will see that there is both example and hacker tab and hacker defrag SQL. So go into hacker tab and click on hacker underscore defrag SQL. You will see that here the database name is different. Here the database name is test public hacker data. This is the same as your database. So test database, public schema, hacker data table, okay? Same here also, test public hacker data. And here also you can see that, right? So here also you can see hacker data. Oh, here it's actually, selecting the earlier tables, and you come here, and yeah, it is the same thing. So it is both the files are same. So that is how it gets executed, okay? So this is the actual SQL that gets written. And the point that I want to make here is that if you understand SQL properly, then it will be easier for you to see. You see this here. So inside the run DBT intro model, you see that the test hack, it is creating the table. It is creating create table test public hacker defrag DBT temp. So this defrag table that is created is using this table, okay? when this SQL is run, the table is getting created. So that is how the entire process is working. So the point, the reason of showing you all this stuff is that the DBT tool is basically writing SQL in such a way that it is more readable for us in the back, and also it can document very easily. So there are ways to test, document, and do lot of other kind of data modeling activities with DBT that will be covered in the next video. The following up video, I am planning to use the same data. If you are following up in this video, right, you can check the next video also, and you can continue the tutorial. But here we have already seen the major points now. So let me actually quit out of it. So okay, just a minute. Okay. Now the point is that, let me go back to the presentation. Okay, we are in the presentation. So what have we learned? We have learned how to pull the image from the Docker Hub. We have learned about Docker, how to work with Docker and get the database server. We have pushed 400K records into the database server using Python, and we have configured DBT, and we have started modeling with DBT, and we created a folder. We have created a table in our database using DBT. Now, what to do next and where to go next? The major point is that, let me go back to the terminal. Okay, if you go there, I actually created only one model, right? I created only one model, and let me do a Vim. Now just think about it. Let me also think along with you. Just think about it. Now here you see that I can actually create a new table by combining, by splitting the existing one table. I took one table and I split it into a different table, and I joined it. I did it all in one script. Now assume that I have one more script, okay, one more model, and in that model I do something else, and like this I can have any number of models I want, and all this model will create separate tables in my database server, and all this table will be in the staging area, okay, or it will be in the raw area. So whichever area you want to keep, you can keep it, and the way to manage that, which area to move the table, is taken care by, just a minute, let me show you. What happens is that why it is not quitting. What happens is that just a minute, DBT project, yeah. You see this area, example and hacker tab. I opened the file dbt project.yaml. okay, once you open it, you will see at the bottom that there is example and hacker tab. This is actually the model folder that we are using. In the model, we can actually mention the schema also. So let me open the dbt tool, dbt file in Vim, dbt project.yaml file in Vim, and if I come here and if I say plus schema is equal to staging, if I give this kind of a command, if I give this kind of an update, and if I save this, and if I run the DBT tool, what will happen is whatever is there inside the model hacker tab will get materialized into staging area, staging schema. It will not be in, okay, let me show you. It will not be in public schema. No more it will be in public schema. It will be in staging schema. Okay, let us show you what are the schemas available. So in this database, the list of schema is only one, public schema, nothing else. Okay, if I have to search, so if I want to say set search path, okay, let us say show search path first. So search path. Why? What this does is it actually searches it sets the path in which the table will be searched. So it will only search in public schema right now. So basically schema is kind of a folder. Okay, as I was explaining, the database server is a set of folder like all your applications. It is not different from your existing files or the way it works. It looks, the name is given as database server, but internally it is made of text files and program files, which have the data inside them. But data will not be visible to you the way it will be visible in this area. So database server knows how to query it. By naked eye, we cannot be able to find it. So we can actually change this schema by using this option. So if I change this, we will be doing these things in the next video. Okay, and that is one thing that we will be doing. And apart from that, what we'll do is we can also do the, let me exit out. So we can also change, we can also add, let me go into models, ls. We can also add more folders here and we can create new models. So for an example, we want to create a star schema, or we want to create a kind of a snowflake schema. Want to create that, we can actually do the data modeling by using multiple models here also. That is the power of DBT. And you know, of all these things, the benefit is that each and every, the biggest benefit is this. If I do a Vim here, the biggest benefit is that it can actually document everything that you're doing. So if I can share this file to anybody, but assume that I am doing the, let me come to the database here. I am doing a select command here and I am selecting say index. I'm just giving some 10 things: index, source, dpt, spt, country. I'm doing some kind of things here, and then I say, okay, group from hacker data, and then I say group by. I'm doing all these things, okay, and I am actually creating a table. But how will I share this with anybody? You cannot, right? It is inside the database, and I am giving the command directly to the database. So what DB tool does is that we can easily share this code that we have done in SQL with others, and we can document it. There is a way to document also all these things: how to document, how to create more models, how to work DBT with DBT to create more efficient models will be tackled in the next video. This video, let us go back to the presentation right now. In this video, we have seen the actual all these problems we have solved: where to get the DB server, how to get the data into it, how to connect the database with DB tool, and how to use DB tool for data modeling, basic data modeling. All these things we have seen in this video. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments, do leave it in the comment section. I will revert back to you as soon as possible. And if you, I hope you like the content, do leave a like, and do share this content with others. If someone is saying that they have trouble connecting with a database like Postgres or MySQL, any of the database server, it's not just Postgres, or any of the database server will have basic password and username request along with some of the command line application, right? Nothing different. But the point is that how to get that application, command line application and all those stuff, you have to do some internet search. But the process of connecting will be very much similar from the command prompt. And yeah, do subscribe to my channel. And once you subscribe, whenever there is a new video that I upload, you will get the notification. In that way, you will be updated with the content. That is what I wanted to share in this video. The most important thing is that you practice what is shared here. The main point, the intention was to, what was the intention of getting all these things? The main intention was that it can be easy for you to get your hands dirty. Okay, you can get the Docker, no issues. You can pull the Docker, you can install the Docker, you can get the Docker image for the Postgres. You can get the records. It's already there in the GitHub repo. You can configure DBT by doing a pip install after installing the DBT. And you can do this practice for any of the datasets. Yeah, you might have to work in this place. You might have to use your pandas skills in cleaning the dataset. But the process of pushing the data into the database using the Python will be same as the code that I shared with you. So this gives a overall picture to how you can work more effectively with the database, irrespective of the size. Whether it is a Snowflake server, a Snowflake warehouse, or BigQuery warehouse, at the end of the day, there will be a way to connect using Python, and also there will be a way to give the connection string. So there will be. So all you need to do is just do a Google search. So you'll get it. That is the important point of data leaders. So we actually are on top of things and we get the things done. That is more important. So yeah, that's all, guys. So keep on practicing, and till the next video, practice. See you.